Welcome to Shulman Student Showcase, where we highlight students at Hofstra University and their unique talents. I'm your host, Lindsay Shulman. Hello, today I'll be speaking with the wonderful Marla Lardiere. One of Marla's hobbies includes making arts and crafts. She's here today to show us a little bit about what she does and how she does it. I'm here with Marla. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us how you started crafting.
It's kind of a funny story. I started crafting because my mom is a nursery school teacher, so I kind of grew up in the arts and crafts environment. And when I got a little bit older, I started doing her own bulletin boards for her, and then my crafting hobby just kind of spiraled from there.
Oh, that's so sweet. What are the benefits to crafting?
The benefits really are to de-stress and get your creative energy out. For me as a college student, I really use it as a distressor. Just sometimes I just need to turn my brain off, take a break, and do something to relax, and I always end up turning towards crafts.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a good way to de-stress. What do you like about crafting?
I just like the fact that it's so easy and fun, and you can be as creative as you want with it, and kind of make anything, and whatever you come out with is something that you made all from your own imagination.
What's a fun story you have about crafting?
My favorite story is when I ran out of supplies, and I was midway through a craft, and I had to get it done that day, and I ran out of paint. So I had to take some other colors that I had and mix them together to try to get that color. I was mixing for a good hour or two, and then I repainted the entire canvas that I was painting and had a nice little gradient effect to it.
It's really hard to craft when you don't have supplies.
Yeah.
What's the best way for someone to start crafting?
The best way to start is just to find something that you like to do or something that you want to create. And if you want to create it, you're going to have fun making it. So whether it turns out the way you want it or exactly like the picture you printed, it's still going to be fun and it's still going to be a great distressor.
And do you have a favorite thing you like to make?
I really like painting canvases. I have a lot in my dorm room, and I like painting them for my friends for their birthdays. It's a really fun way to be creative and de-stress.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for Marla for coming and showing us all about crafting. Although Easter has already passed, it's always a good time to learn how to dye some eggs. Let's see Marla take a crack at it.
So today we are dyeing eggs. What you're going to need is one egg dyeing kit, eggs, however many you want to use. I'm using a dozen, scissors, vinegar, cups or whatever you want to put the dye into, spoons, and then access to a kitchen. Step one is filling up your pot with water. Make sure you don't go too high, leave room for the eggs. Put your pot on the stove, turn on the stove, put your eggs in the pot, and wait for them to boil. So while your eggs are boiling, you should open up your egg dyeing kit. In mine, I have stickers, egg stands, an egg dipper, the dyeing tablets, and of course, your magic crayon. Once you're done setting up what is in your egg dye kit, you can move on to what is going to hold the dye packets. I'm going to use reusable cups, but I'm going to cut them down so that they're easier to work with. So once you have your containers ready, you can add the tablets that you want for the dye and 1 tablespoon of vinegar and a half a cup of water. As these tablets dissolve, let's head back to the studio.
One thing that's always a hit at every party is a piñata. Marla was kind enough to come into studio today to show us how she makes one of the oldest and most beloved party staples.
All right, Lindsay, it's time to show you how to make a piñata.
All right.
So the first thing you're gonna need is a balloon blown up. I like using a colored one, that way I always know which part I covered and which part I didn't. You're also gonna need newspaper cut into strips. My rule of thumb is 1 balloon to 1 newspaper cut up, that way always make sure you have enough.
Makes sense.
Glue and a water mixture, make sure that it's more watery than gluey, because if it's too sticky, then it won't work. And the more sturdy you want your piñata, the longer you should soak your newspaper. So mine's been soaking for a little while. And then all you have to do really is take the newspaper and take 1 strip at a time and you just kind of stick it on the balloon. Oh. And I like to do mine in like a woven fashion, that way I know it sticks really, really well. But you kind of do that until it's all covered.
Very nice.
And then when it's dried, it kind of looks like this guy here.
Ooh.
Right? And then you can paint it, you can cover it with another layer, you can do whatever you want. You could use tissue paper. I already started painting it a little. I'm gonna keep going. And what you can do is you can paint it. If you use more picture-based newspaper, then you're gonna have to do a little bit more coats just to make sure it's all covered. But you can paint it more than one color, you can do a paper towel layer and then tissue paper over it. You really can do whatever you want. It's kind of where the creativeness comes out, where it can get really, really fun for kids to do this by themselves because they can paint it whatever they want and they kind of know it's their own little masterpiece that they have. And this step can range from taking like an hour to 2 hours depending on what you're doing, the size of the balloon, all that kind of thing. So I'm gonna put that here so he doesn't roll away from us. And then when he's done, he kind of looks like this little shell.
Very nice.
The first thing you have to do is you have to pop the balloon that's in it. So you're gonna need scissors or an X-Acto knife or something. Make sure there's no kids around because that can get really dangerous really fast. And so you just kind of cut it and let the air sift out. And then when it's done, it kind of shrivels up and you can pull it out of the hole. And then you take an X-Acto knife and you cut 3 flaps, well, 3 sides really, to make a little flap. Just make sure there's no kids around because an X-Acto knife can get really dangerous. Then you just kind of open it and stuff it with candy.
Oh, awesome.
So let's do that. A little piece of advice for kids' party is to put the candy in a bag. That way they're not all yelling. They all have their own individual bag. And then you hot glue gun it. And then you can wrap it with twine and hang it. And it's a great piñata.
Very nice.
And that's how you make a piñata.
And now let's take a look at part 2 of Marla dyeing eggs.
If you want to add some flair to your eggs, you can take the magic crayon that came with the kit and draw a design on the egg before you place it in the dye. Once you place it in the dye, the design will appear once the egg is dry. Once your eggs are dry, and if you're lucky enough that your kit came with stickers, you can grab those or grab some other stickers that you have on hand and start to decorate some eggs. And here is the final product. You have your solid color egg, your 2-colored egg with some stickers, one that was drawn on with magic crayon, and a gradient. And that is how you dye eggs.
I want to thank Marla for being here today. I'm Lindsay Schulman, and we'll see you next time on Schulman Student Showcase.